It's the front page of a Moodle.
This is the draft text for the front pages of a Moodle induction for construction management students who are beginning their studies with the first of 6 core units. They then go on to do 2 option modules, units, and then their dissertation, so that's their credits. And they run this consolidating theory and practice unit in parallel with the 6 core units. Stop me if I contradict what I said first of all, before that thing was put on. This text I ran past Mick Hancock, who's the Module 1 tutor, and it contains a good deal of, as I said before, bog standard action research, terminology such as making a valid claim that you understand. The first page tells them what they're expected to do in this module, and then they can drill down through links if they don't know what blogging means. The existing consolidating theory and practice module isn't doing what we intended it to do, because the idea of it was to actually get the students to form online collaborative communities of practice, and we did this by getting them to respond to what we called focused discussion questions, which were in little boxes at the beginning of each of the sections in each of the modules. They're required to make a post in Moodle online which responds to the focused discussion question, and then they're supposed to engage with each other. So the Ugandan student who's made a comment about infrastructure or whatever have you will respond to a Canadian student who's been talking about their idea of infrastructure, and so on. But these exchanges do not happen because time, not sure what. So Mick and I have decided to get rid of the whole focus discussion question thing and replace that with some sort of online ideas laboratory, essentially, where the students will be sent out in pairs or threes. Sometimes the cohort is 40, so we don't want more than 10 groups, so there'll be 4 students in each group. And we'll send them out to research a particular activity, something or other, a particular concept or what have you, within the context of their own firm. And they'll then come back and report to each other, the Ugandan and the Canadian and the Icelandic and so on, how they have found that set of ideas are operated on, let's say basic management techniques, within their own firm. They can then end up with insights into, again, management techniques within different jurisdictions, different cultures, different firms, and so on. And they will then also have to bring in elements of the academic work as academic insights into what they're discussing. That then gets lodged in a thing that at the moment we're calling a reflection organizer, a sort of template, because the assignment for this consolidating theory and practice module, you still with me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The assignment is to write what's called a reflective commentary on how they have brought together improvements in their practice with insights from academia. That's the clog dancing class, obviously. It's not lost action researchers.
Good.
Oh, you're shutting them out rather than
Absolutely.
welcoming them in. In writing their reflective commentary, they're writing a sort of critical analysis of what they have learnt. Again, making a valid claim they understand their own educational development, essentially. Bringing in, not data, what is it? Insights from their reflection organizer, which contains all the conversations, the interactions they've had with their fellow students and the insights they've brought in from the academic context of the course. Is that all right? Is that?
That sounded really good.
Yes, and that's really exciting.
So we're moving away from read page so-and-so of your textbook and post how you use these ideas within your firm to go away in pairs. It sounds like primary school, doesn't it? And
Best versions of it, yes.
Yeah.
But also, Pete, earlier on you mentioned that once everybody has contributed to that process,
Yeah.
you will then have something for a critical analysis or a critical framework. Or
Yeah,
critical-
exactly. They used to do a reflective commentary for each of the 6 core modules, and then at the end they would write a critical account of the whole thing. My experience of the core modules of construction management, and we found, and I've actually been involved in marking the last 4 cohorts over the last 2 years, 3 times as part of my job and once paid by the hour as a consultant. And so I know what's involved in this. And basically the reflection organisers, they all get full marks because they answer all the questions, they post all the things. The reflective commentaries are perfunctory, and the critical accounts are what they concentrate on. So we got rid of the critical account, which is their account of the whole core experience, and we've now concentrated on them writing decent, proper, full-blown, referenced back to their own experience, critical reflective commentaries, 1 for each module. And we find it's rather nice to chuck out stuff that doesn't work and say, it doesn't work. No, get rid of it. We tried it, it's had a chance, no. And so we're now moving over to concentrating on the reflective commentaries, forcing, and you do something, have to force students to actually validate those accounts with the work they've done with each other in their online blogging and their experimenting, if you like, with their own practices. And we've got shot of the critical account that comes at the end.
So where does your responses, where is your, the responsiveness to your students, where will that come in?
Again, Mickey's Module 1 tutor, he's somebody I've always been able to do business with, essentially. We're on the same wavelength. And whereas before, the Consolidating Theory and Practice tutor was Alex Copping, who's the programme. Nobody else was there to do it. Now that I'm retired, I'm taking on the role of tutor. So I'll be going along, I'll be putting together this Moodle thing. There'll be me as a talking head on Moodle saying, hello, I'm the face behind the name, aren't I, Frankie? And doing also a presentation to back that up at the residentials, whereas Alex just did it on the fly because that's all he had time for. And also I'll be working in parallel with Mick to make sure that these students get through the first module having approached his module from the right position, and will also have taken the correct perspective, or come to take the correct perspective to the Consolidating Theory and Practice module that runs alongside all the other 6.
Excellent.
Because one of the problems is, it's not just simply CTP and Module 1, it's also a question of making jolly sure that by the time they've done their first module, they know how to Harvard reference.
Yes.
They know that they're not there to memorise content and rules and so on. They need to learn the vocabulary, but it's the actual process that is the important thing.
So you're on Module 2, okay?
Yeah.
When does that get underway?
Immediately they finish Module 1.
So when's that in terms of timing?
It's 6 weeks a module.
Okay, so when does the Module 1 start?
I've got to have all this ready by the middle of March, and then Module 1 with the new cohort kicks off in June. And then by the time we get to November, the first cohort will have done Modules 1 and 2. Then the next intake in November, there's 2 intakes a year, will be kicking off with Module 1 and 2, and I'll then be taking the first cohort through Modules 3 and 4. So it rolls on.
So if they're starting with Module 1 in June,
Yep.
do they do 1 and 2 together, or is it sequential? Or
They do it sequentially.
sequentially. So yours,
They used to speak about there being 3 periods
okay,
in the core. 1 and 2 is basically when you pay.
yeah,
You pay your money, you get modules 1 and 2 materials.
So if we look at module 1, which will be starting in June,
Yeah.
and the 6 weeks per module,
Yeah.
when might your module get underway?
My module runs parallel.
So it is parallel, that was
Yeah.
what I wasn't sure of.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
there's something that we could learn from this, Jack,
Mm.
for the people who want to do their masters here, who are getting stuck with moving them on.
Mm.
Yes,
That was really good.
yes, I need to think about what you said, Pete.
When you say moving them on, is it keeping? Are you talking about keeping up their application, or making sure that you've consolidated the basic study skills and the attitudes and perspectives that you want them to carry through the whole program?
I think this is very different, okay, in terms of, like last week, there was a full house,
Mm.
yeah? And if you'd asked me to put money on